Video, we're going to have a quick introduction to CAD and how you might use it alongside your NEA. CAD stands for Computer Aided Design. It's a feature of the National Curriculum at Key Stage 3, and in this video we're going to look at how you might approach it for the NEA. You might already have lots of CAD systems at school that you don't really use very much, or that become cumbersome. For example, you might have 2D design pre-installed, or you might be using programs like Adobe Creative Suite to edit photos. There are loads of options out there, but the growth of browser-based CAD means that we've got lots of options you can easily get to and empower your students with. We're going to look at a tool today called tinkercad. Tinkercad comes from a company called Autodesk, and the reason we're going to look at it is that it's entirely free, it's browser-based, there's an app available, and you can also set up Tinkercad classrooms, which means you can keep your students' work secure, which is really important for the NEA. To get to it, you just go to tinkercad.com and you choose to sign up. You can create a personal account if you just want to try it out. But if you want to use it with your students, you'll need to create an educator account. When students come in, they'll just join with the green button that says Students Join a Class. So let's dive in. We get a safety warning, and what it means is when we're using the educator account, we're in safe mode. That means students can't share work publicly, post them onto their YouTube channels for example, add comments or collaborate with other people, so all the work is theirs. So we're going to continue to start making an educator account. You can obviously read and agree to the terms and conditions if you do, and I'm going to use the single sign-on option and sign in with Google. In the next video we'll dig into the layout, but for now we're just going to look through how we create a class to keep our learners safe and to manage their work. To start off with, you click Create New Class. Give your class a name, choose what grade, it doesn't really matter though, and what subject you're going to be teaching. You can leave those two blank if you want to. You can see here all the classes that I've created. And if ever you want to delete them or archive them or look at their properties, you can do so using the three dots. I'm going to go into the class I've just made, test class 123, and I'm going to add some students into it. There are a number of ways of adding students, but the easiest is this. I click on Add Students and type in a name. You'll see it automatically generates a nickname which you can edit if you want to, and click Save Changes. If two people have the same name, I can put Simon2, or I could just change their nickname. I can also copy and paste the list of students. All I need is a CSV list. That's their first name followed by a comma followed by a space. So for example, Sally, comma, space, Haley, comma, space, Mohammed. Once I've created my class, I can see my class members in it. When students go in and press that green button, they'll need two things. They'll need the class code. I can find that by this blue button. This is their class code. I can also get it to them by copying the code, and if I use a learning management system I could email it to them. And they'll also need to know what their nickname is. So for example, Simon2 would need to know the class link and that his nickname was Simon2. When they get going, you'll be able to see different things in here. You'll be able to see their designs they're working on. There aren't any at the moment there. Any notifications. And you can also add in co-teachers. So if you have a colleague who you want to be in your class or a head of department, you can invite them by sending them the link by invite link. You just send that to them via an email. So we're all set up with the classroom now. I can see all my different classes here. In the next video we're going to dive into the interface. In the previous video we looked at how to create a Tinkercad class. And today we're going to look at creating a 3D design. We're going to try and understand how to navigate the workspace, how to add designs, and a few other features we can do with it that would really help with the NEA. So I have my class. Instead of going to my class now, I'm going to go to Designs, and I'm going to create a new 3D design. We'll come back and visit some of the other options later on. So let's have a quick look at the screen. First of all, if ever we want to get home, I press on the Tinkercad logo and that will take me back to the previous page. Then got a big blue square here which is called the work plane, and that's like our virtual piece of paper we build on. Across the top we've got some icons, and you'll see these icons will change and be greyed out or active depending on what we're doing. Down the left hand side we've got a library where we'll find lots of shapes and parts with some drop down menus to explore. And we need to learn first of all how to navigate around. We're in a 3D space, so we need to be able to move around. I'm using a 3-button mouse, which is really important. You can use a trackpad, but it's a lot more cumbersome. So for example, if I hold down the right mouse button and move my mouse, we can orbit around, we can change that 360 view. If I hold down the middle mouse button or the scroller, I can pan from side to side. And if I scroll in and out, I can zoom in and out. And depending on where I'm at on my work plane, it will zoom to different areas. You'll also notice up here, we've got what's called a view cube, and a view cube is mirroring what's happening in my 3D space. And I can also navigate using the view cube. So if I click on the top plane, it will take me to the top. If I click on a corner, it will give me a different view. If I click on the right, it will give me a different view again. I can zoom in and out using the plus and minus buttons. I can click to a home view, and I can click to this one here, which is fit everything in one place. So if I've got lots on here, I can zoom and see everything. What I'm going to do now is to start to populate the work plane with some designs. So it's as easy as dragging shapes onto the work plane. I click and hold and drag, and move my design. Click and hold and drag and move it onto the work plane. Click and hold and drag. Each time I've got a shape selected, a dialog box comes up allowing me to change some options. We'll come back to that later on. I'm going to delete these shapes by just pressing delete on my keyboard. I can move my shape by clicking and holding and dragging, and I can also change the dimensions of my shape by clicking in these white boxes. We call these handles. If I click on my shape and click on the box, I can drag and move my shape around depending on which handle I'm pulling. I can also change my dimensions by typing a specific number into the box and pressing enter. I can also change the height of my box by clicking on that handle, clicking 55, and now we've got a cuboid. I can change the colour if I want to by clicking on different colours, and you can even change if I want it to look more or less transparent by clicking the transparency button. I can add other shapes to this shape, a bit like Lego blocks. So in this case I'm going to drag a cylinder on, and as I move around it will choose the side that I want to add it to. Now I can check my shape, I can edit the size if I want to, I can edit the height, and I can edit its position. If I select both these objects by clicking and dragging, I can use this button up here which is called group. I can group them together to turn them into a new object. If I ever want to go back and edit them, I can ungroup them. I can also use these tools here. Any shape can be made into a hole. So for example, I can take a cone, put my cone on this side, and instead of it being a solid, I'm going to make it a hole. That means that when I group them together, it's going to remove that material from the other one. Let's see what that looks like. I take this one and I'm going to move it so it's inside the other object. I take them all, drag and click and group them, and now we'll see we've created a hole in the cone shape within that object. We'll pause there for a second and we'll look at some other functionality in the next video.